skills, slicing and dicing their way through 2-3, still back and forth.
Hello everyone far and wide, it's HD Philly B, it's Dexatron here on this wonderful Friday night to bring you a CGL Season 17 Week 3 NAGM tier matchup between Xgames SOF versus Unknown Star Algia. Dex, we've got a special twist starting here in Week 3 and every hero is now available. Are you ready for some top-notch Overwatch?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been really fun watching CGL throughout the week, seeing what teams have really adopted it using those new heroes, what teams haven't, and honestly, I feel like I've been a little bit surprised how much Emery we've been able to see this week compared to what I've heard a lot of people saying of maybe being the weakest of the new bunch. I feel like I've seen him the most out of any of them, besides the cat for that part here. But we have a great matchup here tonight. You have Xgames looking for their first victory of the season, while UKN Starligia, sorry for messing that one up, got their first win last week in a 3-0 sweep, looking to keep that momentum going this week. But while we had a game here tonight, there's also a game across the pond in EU earlier today where it was Winston on the Sticks falling to T4 Demons there in a 3-0 sweep.
Yeah, definitely. I was watching that while I was sitting at work. I was bored, didn't have any meetings during that block, so I was like, okay, let me just tune into that one. Sorry, Hippie, I couldn't cast from my office, but maybe next time. But yeah, a great game, and we have a great one here for you too, folks. Both of these teams are vying to get into those mid-season playoffs. A 3-1 record, maybe even a 2-2 record, if you finish out these next 2 weeks strong, can net you a spot. So each team, they're vying for these victories. Are we going to see any curious stuff? This is the first time either of these teams have been on Stream Decks.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be really interesting because of that fact here, but if these teams probably know ways to get scrim or just old replays from these games, from these teams' previous games. Wow, I cannot talk. But it's always going to be interesting because you kind of know what the meta is, especially here in the GM tier. You don't normally see them really go away from it. You had OWCS Boot Camp last week, so you're seeing a lot of people still kind of follow that around, but still, Zarya Vendetta still very strong. You're still seeing Sojourn get played pretty frequently, Cassidy, Ashe showing up as well, and as always, Kiri Lucio going to be in there as well for that support line. The cat could be shown here tonight. Honestly, I'd really like to see Mizuki here tonight as well, so there's definitely that case here. But, I mean, again, you're talking about it really right here. This is Week 3, basically the midway point of the first stage here. A victory here tonight for UKN really puts them in a comfortable spot for midseason playoffs next week with a victory, while on the other side for Xgames, a win here maybe gives them some hope, because considering their 2 losses are against 2 teams that are currently undefeated at the moment, we might not have had the best showing so far for them.
True. I was looking through both of the schedules for both of these squads. They're pretty strong of the contenders that they've had to go up against, especially the Unknown team. They've fought 2 of the top contenders in this GM tier, so they're looking to get right as well. We're going to go to Busan first. Control map is just where we're going to start it out. Is there a particular type of composition we'll see here? We've seen a lot of Zarya Vendetta, but the Domina, do we see her on this control?
Oh, I definitely think there is, especially because we already know Domina's going to get nerfed here a little bit in the coming week. This would be a map where you could see Domina, but outside of there's a couple points where you could see the Domina, but I look at this map more as a little bit of a dive map at times. Yeah, Zarya is still very strong, so you see some teams kind of go away from that mecha base. I look at it as dive. If not, you're going to be playing poke, which, hey, Domina does fit that, but again, Zarya is so strong right now. Even Ramatra, a little bit, I feel like we've been seeing him show up a little bit more. Could be something you definitely see here in this one, but outside of that, unless Vendetta is banned out here in our first map, I think we're going to be seeing the Vendetta come out at least. But I mean, speaking of bans, UKN going to be the first one to make that ban here. And Philly, I mean, again, we talked about how strong Zarya is. We talked about how strong Vendetta is. And I mean, always Kiri Lucio is right there. Do we see any of those? Okay, never mind. I was going to pose the question, but UKN already on it there. Gotta get rid of the newest leader of Talon.
Yeah, and that makes sense. This character is just so strong, and it's just very tough to deal with. Even when you're in this 5, like, everybody's in comms, you're communicating. Still, if a good dive comes off and you lose one support in the back line, it can be very challenging for you. And picking the Vendetta also then kind of chokeholds you into your backline. You have to play ones that are so maneuverable like Kiriko and Lucio. If you go for a Life Weaver, which I love Life Weaver, so I play them a lot, I just get eaten alive by Vendetta. So it's just like, you know, it really does limit you on that front. But now we have X Games here to go for the ban. Maybe they don't feel like they need to ban Zarya since Vendetta's not there. Do they go for then maybe hitting the backline? And they do. Kiriko off the board.
Honestly, I feel like these are two very safe bans just coming straight out of the gate here. I mean, Vendetta, with how strong she is at the moment, always a safe ban. Kiriko, I put her in the same kind of spot as Lucio, where if you get rid of one of them at any point in the series, it's probably just a safe ban because, hey, you're almost playing a double-edged sword where your team's definitely going to play it, but you definitely know the other team might rely on it a little bit more here. So getting rid of Kiriko map 1, I think, is absolutely perfect here for X Games.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense to me, and especially for Unknown. They love the Kiriko Lucio backline. That's what they have in their team sheet, saying like, we'd rather play this more often than not. Whereas X Games, they said Malga slop, so we'll just stick some things together as long as Malga's leading the charge, and we'll see what we can get done. Very curious to, you know, witness how they manipulate that hero on the battlefield in Busan.
I cast an EU game a little bit earlier this week where a team ran it down on Malga, on Busan, and it really caught the other team off guard. It was one of the more dominant maps I've ever seen. Granted, they ended up going on to lose that series in 5, but that first map showing that the Malga very, very strong still here. But, you know, we talked about the bans, we talked about what we could potentially see here. How about we introduce you to the teams here, starting off first with X Games SOF here. Remax and Starfy as your DPS line, Hatsune Briku as your tank, Bubbling and Markadu on your support line here. I mean, a very good team here, especially when you look at just some of the additional notes about this team. Again, this is a friend team here. We love seeing that in CGL. A lot of these people employ the other ones. Hey, hire them, please.
Yeah, especially Mark the dude. Please hire that guy, and Hatsune Briku, hire her in marketing. She needs those extra cash monies. But hey, you can win some extra cash money here in the CGL too. So they're putting some eggs in that basket. Let's see what Unknown has to offer. Let's bring up the roster. Taking a look here, friend. These are maybe some easier names for us. We got Zuki, we've got George, we've got Nine, we've got Puppy, and we've got Levy on this roster here. I'm looking at Nine posturing on this JQ, especially with how they've decided that maybe that's some of their favorite characters, how they want to, bring this tank line in against the Malga. Maybe not so good, so we might see that matchup, and then they're going to have to switch.
Hey, it's going to be really interesting to see. While we always do see, a lot of players show off their favorite heroes here, it doesn't mean we're necessarily going to see it in the game. Jungle Queen, though, I feel like a lot of people really are not playing her enough. I still feel like she's strong in certain compositions. Malga might be one of the ones where she does find a little bit of value getting some of that life steal away with her abilities, and just being able to disrupt with the knife pull is just another good ability here. But again, especially going into a map like Busan, I think Malga might be on the table, or is definitely on the table. Zarya definitely on the table as well. And I mean, you didn't get rid of any dive tanks, which means, yeah, Winston, D.Va is there, and as always, you never know what to expect with some teams. You could see a Wrecking Ball, you could see a Doomfist, which almost play like their own individual team comps.
Doomfist, no, don't say. Doomfist still gives me nightmares. I know he was thrown off a cliff, but still, I don't want to see him in any of these games today. Give me some of the Brawl, give me the D.Va. I love to see it, and I'm sure you'll love to see it too, folks, here as we head into Busan. I'm ready to get this one started.
Yeah, and starting off on Mecha Base, maybe the most divey points of this entire map here. So it's going to be really interesting to see, do we see the teams necessarily lean towards the dive? Do we necessarily see them play the Zarya, the Malga? Definitely options here. So a lot of good options here for these teams. Remember, it was Vendetta and Kiri banned out here. This could definitely mean, like, what we saw there with both tanks for these teams. Like to play Jungle Queen, maybe that you see that come out here because Rampage really doesn't have anything to cleanse it now on the other side, meaning it could find a little bit more value. But already coming out of the gate, I see for that team right there, I believe that's UKN. It's going to be the Domina for the first time that I'm seeing it. X Games on the other side, Hatsune, she's going to be showing us the Malga, not the Malga, the Ramatra here. So again, two different kind of play styles here. Maybe a little bit more pokey for UKN. X Games looks like they want to be a little bit more brawly, and you look at everything outside of that. George on this Symmetra, if it's not just a TP out, watch this be something where they try to maybe get in the backline, use those TPs very, very smartly here. Starfy, though, on that May for X Games. Ice walls are going to be the name of the game for them. Sectioning off one person away from the rest of UKN is going to be what they're looking for here, especially if they find on the 9, because they could easily get rid of Domino pretty fast here.
I tend to agree with you there, friend, because, yeah, she's so slow, this tank, and so if you do section her off, there's nothing she can do, and immediately that press comes through from Blub, amping it up for the rest of the team. The lamp has to come out and is expended immediately. This is where the poke composition kind of works here for UKN. Nobody has yet to fall to the point. Now they're diving in once more. The repulsion to send them back and 2 go tumbling.
9 gonna be able to find one more right there, but I mean, you still have Hatsune up and kicking here, gonna be able to help find 9.
That's a massive pick off there. The Sojourns, this is a character we haven't talked too much about yet, friend. They are going to be duking it out there on the angles. The first cap will go the way of the X Games, but they're not going to be able to hold it.
Not for long, at least, but you're going to see some staggering touches come out here, but is it going to be worth it just to get maybe an extra 10% here? But hey, George finds Remax out here, but that is one member gone for X Games here, so it looks like they're just trying to stall it out for as long as they possibly can here.
And I love to see it. This is why we start with control. Just so much gusto out of the gates. And at the 20% mark, it will be flipped over for UKN. They're on the board.
And now you already look at ultimates coming up in this next fight. Hatsune, Starfire, Remax, gonna have their ultimates pretty early on here for X Games. On the other side for UKN, you're gonna have that Panopticon ready to go here for 9. That's gonna be a very fun ultimate to see here, especially without that Kiriko there. Even though Cleanse I don't think does anything to it, the damage and just the pressure that comes out from that ultimate could really lead UKN to find a good fight here. And it's already out, lands on I believe 3.
Oh, they're locked in the prisons of doom. Explodes upon their heads, but nobody falls, but everyone really low. No beat there to counter it off, and it will be the snow globe expended upon the battlefield, freezing everyone in place. 3 more fall to the wayside, and still UKN, they hold.
Yeah, they only lost 9 in that fight. Good job there. So Photo Bear comes out here from George, but they need to get rid of Hatsune Briku.
Yeah, still standing stalwart there, the Ramatra, the leader of Null Sector, and a fadeaway shot there from Zuki. Well done with the disruptor shot that allows them to take some space, but they still have yet to cap the point. Finally, they've made their way onto the control, but now they're being contested once again. A few ultimates now on the board for the side of UKN. The overclock, it is time to lock in here. Sojourn from the top rope, Zuki, he finds 2 there to help secure the point.
UKN coming out here playing strong. Levy has just been playing absolutely great. I feel like has been a difference maker for this team, finding a couple kills with the torpedoes, that orbital ray right there. Difference maker in that last fight. A pretty costly fight for a lot of teams there. UKN, I mean, you look at them there. 4 ultimates in that last engagement alone. X Games only really use their own overclock there from Remax. Not able to find a lot here. So now the M-Matrix, oh, you wanted to find value, but Remax out. They might have to hold on to it.
Photon Magnum doing the dirty work there. Vishkar Industries' finest getting it done. And a Crystal with a double kill is allowed them to hold on 9. Looking for more there. The Brigida standing stalwart. And it's a quick cleanup there for the red side.
Yeah, and I mean, X Games, they got off to a good start by capping the point, and I kind of questioned them staggering out as long as it did. I understand why you do that, especially that early on in a point, but it just felt like they were never able to group back up really good there in that first point. They're always trying to somehow make their way back to point, and it just seemed like UKN had their number every time. I mean, like I said, Levy was finding so much value here in a lot of these fights. They were getting kills, healing up a lot. The Juno, we don't see Juno that often anymore, but when teams don't play Lucio, you normally see them go for the Juno instead, and that's why Juno maybe a little bit more consistent damage coming out from them, and you already see there UKN finding the value with it. But look, as we now swap points here, completely different styles now for both teams. 9 going over to the Queen, Puppy showing us the first time I've seen Mizuki, and now Levi going over to the Lucio here. So now they're trading speed for a different speed, but Puppy on this Mizuki is gonna be really fun. Other side though, they want a little bit more sustain. Markadu going over now to that cat here, so you have to be watching out for that. That's a crosshair. And now Glub also going over to a Juno of their own here.
I'm excited. Cats versus dogs in this one, folks. But it's really the battle of the tanks. The Junk Queen versus the Orisa. Not going to go the way of the Queen, so she has to play these corners very carefully. It will be George to get first blood. And now the Dominoes go a tumbling for the X Games. They've fallen off the board.
Yeah, and honestly, both these teams made swaps to their compositions, and it seemed like it didn't really change a lot there. Hatsune Brika will at least find Puppey to end that fight. But, I mean, it seemed like UKN accurately predicted what we were going to see the swaps come out from X Games, because I really look at Drunk Queen v Orisa as almost an even matchup, but if Drunk Queen gets a little bit more pressure onto the Orisa, it'll find a little bit more value just because of how strong the shotgun is here. But now, you're looking at both these teams here. What's going to be the game here for X Games? Looks like they just going to go straight to point, as UKN still kind of holding up in that drum room, but they're playing angles, and I think they're in a really good spot.
And I love where Mark the Dude is, the purr, just soothing everybody, healing them up, but it's Starfy who opens the kill feed once again. Remix, he can't stand tall in this one, and now Orisa being cut down to sides. This feline friend must save the team. They cannot. Now Mark the Dude has to turn tail and run.
I think that's one of the downsides of having the cat there. The fire rate, not that fast. You're not really able to get so much healing, especially onto a big target like the Orisa. You have Purr there, which, does give a decent amount of healing over time, but that's the problem. It's over time, and it's not consistently its burst there. But now you look at ultimates. You're going to have Sanctuary here for Puppey. Other side, though, Starfight was able to find a good Blizzard last round, just didn't find any picks off it because their team mostly died, but there's the Sanctuary out there from Puppey.
Having a massive Terror Surge to shoo everybody away. The Orisa diving in there. Now it's a hack and slash game for Ninja for George, and he slices 2 noggins, sending them back to the gray screen. The feline can only look from the heavens. It's still UKN hold.
I mean, they do have that catnap ready to go, but who's the target? You normally want to look at 9 here, probably, for the most part, because, hey, you get rid of the tank. Now Hatsune Briku getting just thrown into the fray on their own Drunk Queen here, but you look at the ultimates ready to go for X Game. They're in a really good spot, but same thing could be set for UKN as the overclock is out.
And it's about to end now. Zuki, we've saw him get a double kill previously. Can they do it again? Yes, 2 on the board, looking to make it 3. I'm being an auctioneer. I need to see 3. Can he raise a hand in the air like you just don't care? Yes, Zuki with the triple. Still a lot more work to do here. The feline now pestering him from the sky, and it will be the frontal feline rush to knock him in the noggin.
And right now, I mean, you're just trying to see X Games keep this contest alive, but with George funding Markadu out there, that might just be it. And UKN, after giving up only 23% on the first point, never really looks back. And they just kind of dominated this first map. X Games had their opportunities, but you really just saw the differences in compositions between point 1 and point 2, where it seemed like UKN was able to predict it right each time. Excellent plays coming out from everyone there. I think we almost praised absolutely everyone for that UKN team in our first map.
Speaking of praise, friend, you're the one that got it in the chat. Puppy saying that one was for you, Dex. Just strutting his stuff in that last round. Well, that was a quick set of control points on Busan, but I definitely have to highlight the dynamic duo known as the DPS line for UKN. They were just putting on so much pressure from every angle, and every ultimate just found value for them. They just got kill after kill after kill. This backline of X Games just couldn't hold it up.
Yeah, I mean, UKN, this is a very good team. They have a couple, or 3 of the 5 players are playing in collegiate right now. One of them playing on SCAD B Sports, which is one of the better programs here in NACE at the moment. So it's very fun to see them. That is actually Puppey, who I believe is the SCAD B Sports player there, and a couple of the other players are playing as well. I wish I knew what that abbreviation stood for if it's a university. I don't want to make a wrong guess. But they definitely do play in NACE at the moment, so you're seeing that kind of difference right now. But UKN getting exactly the start they were looking for here. Again, they came out of the gate, took that first fight very methodically. You could see they were trying to get positioned. They were okay giving up the point. And then once they got the fight win, they just went straight to point, and you saw the staggers come out there from X Games. And like I said, I understand why I do it. I didn't necessarily like the play because after that, you saw they just kind of struggled to regroup back up there. Even though there were a couple team kills, they're always just trying to catch back up. And sometimes as a team, you just really need to take your foot off the gas and just slow down. It seems like X Games just kind of struggled with that on our first map.
Yeah, and as much as I love the cat, how whimsical it can be, how much fun it is, after they brought in Hammond, I was like, they gotta do another one of these, and finally it took them like 3 years to do so, or whatever it was, but just doesn't provide enough for me. It's a very utility-heavy character. She's a tactician for a reason, and if you're not playing towards that like right side of the map where there is the edge where you can catnap somebody, put them off the edge, whatever, or combo the ultimate like a Cassidy or Malga, like just get somebody in there, it's just not as good. So I just feel like they were lacking in some of that sustain, and they needed it heavily. Their tank was just getting pressured out of position time and time again.
Yeah, even with the differences in comps there, it was really interesting just to see, because you remember they played Ramatra the first point and then go over to the Orisa the second point. Two different kind of play styles. Both they want to try to be in your face, but the Orisa's a little bit more pokey at times, especially with perks. You could get a shield, or, I mean, you could do the kebab if you want with the charged spear, but it feels like shield is always a stronger one there. But again, there's some changes that you could see from X Games going into our second map, which, hey, they've decided where we're going to be going for our second map of the night. Going to be going to Flashpoint here, to everyone's favorite map of Saravasa this time around. And again, you saw these teams, both the tanks do like to play Jungle Queen, and I've always said Flashpoint and Jungle Queen kind of go hand in hand, not only because they come out in the exact same season, but their play styles want to play fast, they want to be in your face. That's exactly what Jungle Queen is all about.
And I love it. Junker Queen, one of my favorite tanks. I was looking through the team sheets decks. There's some crossover in terms of the favorite map types, right? Saravasa being one that both teams selected as their favorite Flashpoint map. King's Row being the favorite hybrid, so we might see that one come out. It's not a shock to, I think that's on it's on my sheet. Like, I'll get that tattooed on me. I don't care. Like, everybody loves that map. But yeah, Saravasa just makes a lot of sense. But now it's the picks and bans. What are we going to get to? What are these teams going to do? I'm still looking at the tank line. We've got to ban somebody out here.
I mean, do you go after the Domina or do you go after the Queen here? I feel like that's the question. Or do you go after something else? Let's say maybe like the Zarya here. Yeah. Again, we've been talking about how strong Zarya is. X Games, they might want to be a little bit preemptive here and ban that out. Or were you burned a little bit last map by, hey, speak of the devil, there she is, the Domina is being taken out here in our second map. And I mean, yeah, I'm not surprised with that. 9, I thought, played an excellent Domina in the 1 point that we saw before going over to that Drunk Queen on the second point.
Mm-hmm. And now that one tank has been banned out, you can't go back to that role. You've got to do either a damage or a support character. So that leans to me that you have to go with a support, because Zarya is going to be in it and Vendetta is going to be available as well. And there is Lucio is just nicked out of here.
Fast. These teams have been fast on their bans. They immediately know who they do not want to be seeing in the next map. Yeah. And honestly, I think UKN getting rid of this Lucio here, we saw it on the first map. Yeah, they did play a little bit of Lucio, but it seems like they definitely prefer to play the Juno instead. So they're probably going to be coming out with everyone's favorite Martian instead of everyone's favorite Brazilian DJ, as we will not be seeing him this time around. But I think these, again, two kind of smart bans here. X Games, you want to get rid of the Dominic, because 9 did a really good job on it last map. And I feel like the Lucio is just a safe ban coming into our second map. But hey, speak of that, we do have some subs coming in here. Not really, but there's role swapping. Markadu going over to the DPS line, Starfy going over to the support line for our second map for X Games.
And that makes sense. I mean, Mark the Dude is the captain of the squad. He is a Tracer player by trade. So maybe on these flashpoints where it's a lot more brawly, it's quick paced, all that kind of thing, they're like, all right, the Tracer could be good here. Let's see what I got. Whereas Starfy is actually their honor specialist. This computer science employed MFer, as he is on the team sheet, is going over to the support line. So really, this is going to be their quote-unquote tried and true lineup. I want to see what they got.
Yeah, and look, you already see them. Hatsune Briku, she's going to be showing us a Zarya here. Zarya, maybe this is one of her best maps. Just close quarters, the beam finds a lot of value. Even right-click finds a lot of value here as well. Levi going over to the Kiriko here. Remember, that was banned out map 1. Puppy going to be staying with the Mizuki, at least for the moment, teasing us. Mark the Dude, I would not hate the sim here, but I feel like this is more of a TP out, and then nope, not even TP out, just a straight swap to the Vendetta. Remember, Vendetta banned out map 1, but it looks like George, never mind. George going over to the Genji. I do this all the time, and I always
debated, my friend. That's why I don't say anything until the teams actually lock horns on the point. There's so much trickery to get us started. Yeah, to get us started off here. But I love that angle from 9, looking to hit the jackpot there. Doesn't find it. The Jagged Blade does connect a little bit to provide some healing, but it will be X Games to take the proper positioning. They're on the point.
She was doing the best there early from UKN. No one from X Games, I think, noticed it. But right now, 9, they need some healing, and they need it badly. Neither one of the supports, though, buy them. And you already see X Games getting off to the same stuff they did last point or last map. But I think this time they're going to be able to hold on to it for a little bit longer.
Yeah, you love to see it. And I like this matchup of the Zarya into the Junker Queen. I think the Zarya's definitely got this one in the bag. Just beaming people down. You can cleanse yourself with the bleed, whatever it is. Just take a lot of damage too. But it's these Sojourns that I want to keep highlighting decks. They're going to be on these flanks, poking each other out. It's almost like Tracer game of old. Whoever wins that outright gets full-on advantage to attack the other side.
Yeah, I mean, Soj still very strong right now. Ooh, headshot coming out there onto Hatsune Miku, but they'll be able to stay alive. Puppey, though, gonna find Mark to Dude out here, and that's a huge person to get rid of right now for UKN.
That is massive, and there goes the tank. 9, one of their lives chunked down. They're down to 8. George, he's hacking and slashing through as well. Puppey looking to put in the damage, has to put in the hat as well, but not enough. The Sanctuary erected upon the battlefield, but maybe just a little too late. Still, X Games holds 95%. It's ticking upward. The blade being hacked down, the onslaught in for the leader of Talon. Puppey almost sent to the pound, but he still survives. The little Shirogami keeping him alive. Somehow, some way, they're able to turn the point.
They're gonna be able to flip it here, like you said, somehow, some way. I thought Hatsune Miku and then Mark coming back in was gonna be enough there for X Games to really hold on to the point and really win it there. But now, I mean, that wasn't necessarily the biggest loss there for them. You're one fight away from basically winning this first point. You got an ultimate out from the other side, and look at where you're coming up to. You have your Orbital, you have your Kitsu, you have your Overclock, you have Grab. You're in a good spot here, especially without a beat on the other side here for UKN. There's really nothing that stops that here.
Don't be wasteful, but it is the Graviton Surge and then the Dragon Blade dumped on top of it, and it's George with a triple kill to lock it down, make it 4 for the kid, and it's a team wipe.
Ooh, you remember everything I said about X Games not necessarily having to worry? Maybe they have to worry just a little bit, because you just use Grab, you just use Orbital Ray, maybe 2 of your strongest ultimates on your side. Granted, you have Consumer Rush and Overclock, and if Remax is able to find 1 or 2 with it, that opens up a lot here. But now you're walking into Zuki's Overclock, 9's Rampage as well, but you have a lot of cleansing opportunities on the other side as the Kitsune out from Starfire.
And it's got to guide them here to victory. They just need one fight win to flip the point, but all the while, it will be a rampage from 9. I don't believe it connected on anybody or got cleansed through it all, but it's Zuki who opens the kill feed again. This guy unstoppable. The Zarya just blasts herself in the face, and she goes back to the spawn room doors, and in the nick of overtime, it's UKN to cap the point.
99-0, and I thought X Games, they looked a lot better to start off this point here, or this map. Then they just lose the one fight. I don't necessarily think they over-invested into the next one. I thought the Grab and Orbital were the perfect combos there, but George finding 4 with a blade, I mean, you don't see that much anymore, even in quick play games. I mean, George popped off there to really help UKN, but now, I mean, you're looking over at X Games. They still have both their DPS ultimates, but now you're walking into Puppey, who has that Sanctuary, which basically negates anything that Remax's Overclock might do if they're playing from a distance here, which might be what they try to do. Mark the Dude, though. Sunring Blade ready to go here. Mostly, I think, going to be used as a little bit of a zoning tool, but George! I mean, my goodness!
He is just finding the priority targets, just the crosshairs just cannot be denied, but it will be the main tank here of X Games to level the playing field, will kill George for his transgressions, but he creates enough space for the point to be flipped. Do they decide to stay here? No, 9 notches another.
9 not going to be able to notch another one for much longer there. Taken out by Remax.
No doubt, friend, and it's a full-on skirmish now outside of this point. The Sanctuary expended to block the Graviton Surge to yield on through it. It's a headshot to the noggin. Oh no, Puppey. He's sent to the pound.
George, again, I think fighting 3 or 4 picks in that fight alone. Blade ready for them. Sanctuary for Puppey. Well, you know, I think it did its job. It didn't necessarily save everyone, but it did its job in that fight. You look over at the other side now, X Games, another Grab, kind of gone by the wayside. Didn't find the value. Mark the Dude still holding on to the Sunring Blade they had ready to go at about 70% on that first point. Now, it's 80% on the other point. Levy does have the Kitsune Rush ready to go here. And again, they want to play fast. They want to be in your face with this composition, and the Blade is out as well.
That's the combo they used last time to get a quadruple for George. He's looking for a way in, but he has been shut down. 9 standing tall here in the midst of the chaos. Finally hacked down into pieces. Remax, they have to deadlift the team now. It's a 3v1 situation layered in with a Kitsune Rush. It's a nice alternate fire there to eliminate one, but still a mountain to go. I better hope he has his gear. No, Puppey with a double.
And this is going to be a very unfortunate thing here for UKN because the next point should be exactly right behind them. UKN going to be able to get there, get set up first, and now Xgames making some swaps here. Mark the Dude going over to the Mei now. I think, again, not necessarily the worst hero swap to Ice Wall, still very, very strong. And Xgames, they just need someone to find the first pick. They can't be caught out like that, though.
Oh my gosh, time and time again, it's Zuki the sniper, the Green Beret from downtown. Dex, this has just been high octane the entire time. My adrenaline's rushing, your adrenaline's rushing. I can hear it. Like, these guys are just locking it in every single step of the way. A little bit of respite, but not for long, as now both teams are colliding once more. This time off the point, it will be George who's getting the kill feed started here. The rest of the dominoes tumble for the side of Xgames. They are slaughtered once again. Team kill.
And the Orbital Ray coming out there from Blub, but I think an excellent play there by 9 to counter it with their Rampage. Got assists for all 3 of those first picks in that fight there, getting rid of Blub, getting rid of Hatsune Briku and Remix. I mean, again, it seems like whenever Xgames thinks they have a good plan going into a fight, UKN, they just have someone that does something, whether it's George fighting 4 with a Blade, 9 hitting 3 with that Rampage right there, and no cleanse or bubbles on the other side to clean it up there. I mean, everything's just going UKN's way right here with no ultimates, at least at the start of this fight for Xgames. And no Remix yet again. They're going to already have to go back to the drawing board.
High octane and high value is the name of the game for UKN. They open up the kill feed once more. The Juno doing everything they can to keep their team in it. But it is the Zarya by her lonesome, and because of the space taken, she will fall. Now it's Puppey from the back line, cleaving through like a Reaper of old, and the point will remain with UKN.
Yeah, and I mean, look at Xgames. They have ultimates. They're about to have 4 ultimates come up here. UKN only has 2, but you're looking at the Sanctuary. You're looking at the Blade here. Those are the ultimates that really helped them out in the past, but who's the touch? Who's the touch for Xgames? Because I don't know who it's going to be.
It's got to be Blub. They don't have an ultimate, and they've got the speed boost to get there. A great... No touch at all. Good call there, Dex. A desperate dump of ultimates from Xgames, but it's not meant to be. A quick 3-0 sweep on Siravasa goes the way of UKN.
And I mean, we're gonna see George's 4K Blade right here, but I mean, I thought we saw just Xgames get off to such a better start here, and oh, that's why it was a 4K. George actually deflected the grab. I didn't notice that the first time around. Oh my goodness. That's the reason why UKN was able to cap that first point without that deep, or without that reflex. Xgames probably wins that first point and carries momentum into point number 2. Oh my goodness.
Oh, you'll love to see it. Hippie, you better be clipping that. And honey, we thank you for being our observer today to catch that action there as well. Magnificent work, just turning the tides with one ability, but quick reflexes is what you need as a Genji player. Holy smokes, Dex. It's just been full throttle through and through in this series.
It really has been. And Xgames, even though they're down 2-0 in this series, they've showed fight back. But UKN, like I said at some point during that last map, it seems like whenever Xgames has a good plan going into a fight, UKN only has to do one thing, invest one ultimate, kind of turn it on its head, and Xgames' plan just kind of goes out the window there. And that's what you're really seeing from this UKN team. They won their last game in a 3-0 sweep, carrying that momentum so far into this series. And after break, they might only need one more map to finish this series up and be on a 6-map winning streak.
All right, folks. Well, you heard it from Dex. Get your chips, get your soda. We'll see you right after this. Behind your opponent, you get read like a book. Ultimates come in more frequently at better opportunities. You find those opening picks, so on and so forth. Well, I was talking in the green room, like, all right, what side? Who's going to pick defense? Who's going to pick attack? And Hippie was like, well, it doesn't matter if we're going to this map type, and it will be push. Esperanza is the favorite map type of Xgames, and they selected here today.
And they need something to go their way here. Bring themselves to their favorite push map here might be just what they need, especially with themselves being already with their backs against the wall in this series. You just need something to give you a slight little bit of momentum your way. So you bring us to a map that you feel pretty comfortable winning on. I'm gonna be honest. I like that. I like that's Esperanza. It's a little bit different. I feel like you see a lot of teams normally when they're put in this situation just immediately say King's Row, but Esperanza is definitely a fun one because you could play dive, you could play poke, you could play brawl. It's a very flexible map when it comes to push. Because I feel like some of the other push maps, you kind of lock yourself in and play maybe one, maybe two certain styles. This one though, because of its high grounds, because of its low grounds as well, and just because of the actual design of the map, it really does lend itself to a very flexible team.
Yeah, an electric contest is what we are in for, folks. But we've got to get through the P's and B's first. X Games, they have elected to be the first ban in this one. Do they go for the Zarya or do they want it for themselves? That's the question.
Well, you have to remember, they were the ones who were playing the Zarya last map, so I don't think they're necessarily lean towards that. You can't go back after the Domina again. Do you go after maybe the Jungle Queen that we've been seeing Nine do very well with? Do you go after maybe something on the DPS line here? Because that's kind of one spot they've avoided. Do they get rid of the Soj? Do they maybe get rid of the Genji after the last map there that we saw from them? And actually, yeah, it's going to be the Cyborg Ninja being banned out here.
And I love that, and I'm glad that you alluded towards the DPS line, because oftentimes we're like, it's just Vendetta, nobody else, whatever. But the fact that the DPS player has been so good on this Sojourn finding multiple picks, I think that would have been a viable option as well. They do go with the Genji, which I think is good too. There's a lot of combos, especially with the Kitsune rush that they were doing in just that high tempo that we've been talking about. Now it's the time for UKN to decide. So far they've banned out one DPS, one support. Do they go for the tank this time? Maybe they are the ones that ban the Zarya.
I mean, they could easily go after the Zarya here. That was something that we did see X Games play throughout the majority or throughout the entirety of last map. It would not surprise me, especially going into a map like Esperanza where Zarya could find some value, but might not necessarily be the smartest span just because, like I said, this is a very flexible map, so you could definitely play something that maybe plays a little bit better into the Zarya. The Zarya plays a little bit better. I mean, you could always go after the support line here. I feel like that's a safe bet, but no, it's going to be the Zarya. You called it right there, Philly.
Hey, you get one, I get one. That's why we're a team. That's why we're walking you through it here, folks, for the CGL Week 3. So we have our bans now. No Genji, no Zarya, so no big wombo combos in terms of those ultimates. But that means the Kiriko will be available. Juno's there, Lucio too. So I'm thinking we're seeing the Kiriko, Lucio backline for sure in this one.
Yeah, definitely Kiriko, Lucio for X Games, considering that's definitely been what they like to play. UKN, though, I mean, we could see the Lucio come back out. We could see the Juno come back out, because remember how good that Juno was? Map number 1. Yeah. UKN's also prefer to play the Mizuki here at times as well throughout the night. Puppy's been showing us, I think, exactly what one of the new support heroes can absolutely do so far this series. But if they go back to it and just fall back to the classics, it wouldn't be the worst move either. You're up 2-0 in the series. You want to try to end it out here on a good note. You don't want to give up anything, though, to X Games, because we have definitely seen it here in CGL in the past where you might joke around on a map being up 2-0 and then you end up being reverse swept. So they want to keep it steady here going into what could be our final map of the series.
And push is where you can get momentum, literally, because, like, you know, you gotta get momentum to push the robot, but also it can generate momentum if you are behind in a series. So this could be the opportunity for them to start the reverse sweep, or at least get themselves a map win, because those do matter, especially heading into those mid-season playoffs. That map differential can be massive with how closely knit a lot of these teams are. So you want to get as many as you can, but in that same vein, UKN, if they win this in 3-0, that's huge for them, not giving up a single map.
Yeah, especially considering they won their last week's series 3-0. They'd be on a 6-map winning streak, and you'd love to see that as a team here. But now look at the compositions, divas for both sides. I kind of thought we would see that here. Like I said, Dive pretty strong this point just because, or map because of the first checkpoints. Puppy though showing us the other new support here on the Cat. We saw from X Games a little bit earlier, who is running that traditional kind of support line right now with that Kiri Lucio. Mark the dude staying on the sim though is gonna be really interesting. Watch out for those TPs trying to dive onto that backline, but again, that's a very mobile backline here for UKN. Well,
and as you predicted, friend, the dive immediately. It's a 10 out of 10 into the swimming pool. Good stuff there from the X Games. But Puppy on the feline, I gotta look at the CGL rulebook, Frank. I don't think that's allowed. This guy could not play a cat. Unheard of. Right now, let's see what he can get done. He's purring over everybody. Now he's trying to go for the cargo hold to drag his team to safety.
Zuki did not want to be a part of that. Got off it almost immediately. And now, look, you're seeing some swaps coming out from UKN. 9 going over to the Wrecking Ball instead. George showing us the Echo. It wouldn't surprise me here. Yeah, there's a couple more swaps going out. Puppy now going over to the Wu Yang instead. It seemed like they wanted to try something for that first fight, but once it went by the wayside, they just said, hey, we're going to abandon it. Early on in the map, not that big of a deal.
Whew, George, we know what this guy can do, but Mark the Dude says, I'm the man with the plan here in Esperanza. He finds himself a kill. It's Zuki, though, who claps back immediately. This Tracer zipping all over the map. Now UKN has found their momentum.
And again, it's basically just a repeat of what we saw in Maps 1 and Maps 2. Xgames would win the first fight, UKN would come back in, maybe make a swap here and there, and just immediately win the second fight. And after that, in the first 2 maps, UKN never really looked back. Xgames, though, they have some ultimates. They're going to have Bomb coming up in this fight. Honestly, it's going to probably mostly be used as a remaking tool. I don't see them using it aggressively, but I've seen wilder stuff happen. But UKN, because of all the swaps, Zuki will have the Pulse Bomb, but you're kind of a little bit away from any of your other ultimates here, as you're already seeing Puppy just trying to keep 9 alive.
And that's very difficult to do. There's so much HP on that Wrecking Ball. He's got to run for cover and get himself a health pack here. But that leaves George in the front line. He is the Slime Queen, but now he's turned into a puddle. Nice to the alternative shot there of the Sojourn Wrecking Ball. He is bowling through the rest of the competition. Doesn't find a pick just yet. This Wu Yang is surviving as long as he can in the back line. And finally, it's the X Games. They break on through.
And this is exactly what they needed here, especially with Mark the Dude finding 9 out there. You have to remember that Sim Beam, it gets stronger as it hits targets. So once it gets up to that level 3 beam, it's scary to anybody. Doesn't matter if you're a tank, it definitely matters if you're a support or a DPS character, because I believe it's 2.5 seconds that all that beam needs to be doing is hitting you and you're dead here. But look at X Games. Checkpoint already in their control. They're pushing it now even more, and they're about to come up to 4 really good ultimates here.
There's the Photon Barrier to kind of split the battlefield here. It does shoot UKN away just for a little bit and gets the robot creeping ever so forward. Now the landmines spewed across the battlefield, just waiting for an unsuspecting victim. But Mark the Dude doesn't even care. He marches on forward, but maybe too recklessly, as he has been chopped in 2. 3 down for the side of X Games. Now it's just about how long can we waste on the clock.
And they're able to do a little bit there. I mean, it's going to be about 6.5 minutes before UKN really gets going here. But Hatsune Briku, she should be able to get these forward spawns. You only invested 2 ultimates in that fight. I think the bomb is used a little bit weirdly. Had to be used as a remaking tool there for her, just to keep her in the fight. But you look, you have both your support ultimates coming up here for X Games. Both your support ultimates ready for UKN here. Plus, Duplicate and Pulse Bomb not that far away here. And the Duplicate already out on the George, who almost loses it immediately. But hey, no, they actually do.
Oh, yeah, the poop gets him. There will not be 2 of a hero in this one. George almost gets his wings clipped. Stunned up. Finally, the tank comes to his aid. That's massive for the Hammond. Still a work to do here for the Red Squad. They have a mountain to push, but they are getting it done.
And I mean, we see this a lot in push maps where it's kind of a seesaw yo-yo effect, really, where you see one team get off to a big lead and then the other teams come right back and almost cut that lead in half or sometimes take the lead. And now Hatsune Briku losing that mech just before they got the bomb is huge. But this is a moment right now where if you're X Games, going back to map 1, I talked about it, they need to regroup. They can't just go rushing and try to stall out this point. They can give up forward spawns here. Look at what they have coming into this next fight. You might honestly be able to have all 5 ultimates ready to go here if you regroup here.
And they have to be careful, though, of how they spend. But it will be the Kitsune Rush from Star V to start us off. The Sound Berry, the double layer in response, though, to the Kitsune Rush from UKN. But now dropped in a tiny space with a Wrecking Ball. Is not where you want to be. The landmines expended maybe willy-nilly. Do not find any eliminations. It will be George, though, with the focus beam to focus somebody down on the point. Remains the Wrecking Ball, but what backup does he have? That's a Pulse Bomb onto the Diva, but it does not get them out of the mech. One more shot to the back will do it. The Hammond just holding on by a thread. They hunt him down. No hamsters allowed in Esperanza.
Hatsune Briku getting 3 kills right there. This has definitely been by far her best map of this series, but at the same time, he's saying that it's been by far the best map for X Games. They've seen to really fix the problems that they've been having these last couple maps, giving up momentum, being able to win fights after they lose their first one here, and that's really good for them here, at least keeping the series alive right now. You still have 3 ultimates going in this fight. UKN actually pretty heavily invested in that last fight, having nothing ready to go early on. George, though, will have duplicate, but remember, it only lasted about a second and a half last time it was used.
Oh, let's see who he targets this time. Somebody's about to be ended from the overclock. It's Remix, but he's getting chunked down. We're taking a look at Puppy, a nice angle here to keep the rest of his teammates alive. The photon barrier utilized to split the battlefield once more. We are tug of warring here in the neutral area of Esperanza, but it's Remix who breaks the deadlock.
But Nine's gonna trade it right back out there, and this could go anyone's way at the moment as George tries to get rid of Glubs. She's gonna be able to get herself out of there, needs to take that TP, just misses it, but it's immediately traded right back out.
True, now George is getting the work done uncontested with Remix off of the battlefield. But you know, Dex, this is a full-on dive composition from UKN, but I feel like I haven't seen the dive really onto one target that they want to blow up. A great boop there to send the D.Va sky high. The bomb goes wide. Doesn't connect onto anybody. This duplicate still being held on here from George. They need to get the focus beam through the defense matrix. They do so successfully. Now the wrecking ball, the dive coming through in coordination. George does go down for the trouble of that focusing beam. Now I'm looking at Zuki. He's got almost a pulse bomb online. Puppy with the tidal wave. He's crashing through the battlefield.
Zuki's looking for that pulse bomb. Still gonna be able to find it as well. Onto Hatsune Miku. Nine's gonna be able to shut down Starfy, but still this cart or the bot still hanging around this mid-ground spot. So if you're X Games, you're not necessarily the most concerned about it here, but you're actually stealing it, trying to get the forward spawns. But at this point right now here, Philly, you just want you away some of that clock here.
Absolutely, and this is at that point where the robot's like, pick a direction, please, because it's just like moving back and forth. Finally, the direction is, let's say, north, this side for the UK, and they've gotten the checkpoint. Now they just need to push about 20 more meters with 2 minutes on the clock. This duplicate still being held by George. Dex, who is the target? Who are you looking for? Is it the D.Va or somebody else?
You have to be looking at the D.Va or probably the Lucio for the most part here. An extra beat on your side would be huge here for them.
Okay, Blub, they are amping it up here. They expend the beat just to sustain in this fight. They know they have to hold the Kitsune rush, though. The Foxes are hunting now. George finds one, rolls through the mines, is another 9. He nets himself 2.
And the Mind's going to be able to find Hatsune Miku right there. And now this gets into a little bit dangerous territory here for X Games. You had the lead for the entirety of this map, and now unless you rush out there, you're not going to be having it here with just under 100 seconds left to go here. Granted, that was a pretty costly fight there for UKN. A couple big ultimates out there. You will have 3 coming into this one, but the lead is now in the hands of UKN.
Oh my goodness, I'm sweating. The players are sweating, folks at home. You better be sweating too. Mark the dude, he's got the photon barrier, but that's not the most impactful ultimate in the world, especially with the Tracer. Well, hey, scratch that, no Tracer on the board. Now, George decides to expend the ultimate. It's got to turn the tide to go with the DPS. Gotta get that overclock. We know what they can do with it. Still trying to charge it up the overclock. Now it is time to rumble, but it might be too late as Hammond has been pushed away.
And right now, you're still just looking for X Games here to really break through this hold. You need to get rid of 9. They've been able to just live too long here.
This is a massive point of the game. 50 seconds on the clock. Mark the dude with a nice off angle there, just peppering the hard light shots now. Trying to be a little bit sneaky, and that's a point blank one to take down Livy. This will have to be a full-on reset here for UKN. They've got one final defense to mount.
And again, forward spawn's gonna probably reset here, but everyone for UKN is in the fray. Remix falling back all the way to their initial spawn here. 27 seconds left to go. They have 4 ultimates here. UKN, they're gonna have 2 ready to go early. They will build up to that continuous. Mine's out from 9. They've had mixed results so far this map, but it's doing its job here by just keeping people away.
Oh, it split the team so nicely, and they got Mark the dude. He expended the photon barrier, but at what cost? He's in the gray screen. The rest of the team goes tumbling down, and that's a certified Ajax on Blub, and a full-on team kill at the final second. UKN, they take it in 3.
And a great series here by UKN. Like I said, keeping that momentum up from their win last week where they were able to get a sweep. Now make it 2 sweeps in a row for them. 6 straight map wins. But like I said, Philly, this was by far X Games' best map. They just gave it up a little bit too late here. And I really think you started to see, really, I think Nine come alive on this ball in the last half of this map. It seems like they were struggling a little bit in the first half of it, especially after they made the initial swap. But once they got going on the Wrecking Ball, it seemed like you saw everyone else on UKN kind of calm down a little bit, understand that their tank felt confident with their play on the ball, and everything else just seemed to fall into place.
Yeah, and we were talking about, is this a full-on coordinated dive? But it was more of the Wrecking Ball specialty where he causes chaos, everyone kind of splits around, singles out, and then the Tracer, then the Echo can find those 1v1 contests they love so very much and get the kills from there. So really well executed from UKN, and it is a momentum game push. You have to fight and be focused for 8 minutes straight, unrelenting. They held the focus for a good bit, but that final 2 minutes just slipped away from them. So that's where that practice and that endurance comes through for the side of Xgames. So a little bit more training for them to do. They will fall to 0-3 on the season. UKN, though, now 2-1. They're looking in a prime spot to make it into the mid-season tournament.
Yeah, absolutely here, especially if they win their next week's game. You would have to assume, unless it's only a 4-team midseason playoff, that they would at least be finding themselves in the midseason no matter what here. But again, if they miss it off with a win next week, you would have to still look at them as one of the better teams going into stage 2 here. You look at the results here from the series. While yes, it does look very much one-sided based off just that alone, I think me and you, Philly, we're talking about a lot here. X Games definitely got better as this series went on, especially here in Esperanza. Probably one they feel like that they really let get away from them.
Yeah, they'll be looking at that VOD review for sure. You know, where did we go wrong? What space didn't we take? What ultimate did we misuse? Something along those lines. But still, a match well fought, and that's what you come here to play in the CGL. You're having fun on a Friday night with all your friends, just getting some. These people, half of them employed, half of them unemployed. Still, hire all of them. I don't even care what they do. Just hire them, please. Maybe not for Overwatch, but for whatever their professions are, marketing, engineering, computer science, what have you. UKN, though, definitely full throttle. I would love to see them match up against like Linwood Academy, some of those other teams there, just to see that high tempo action. That got my blood boiling. I'm jazzed up. I'm about to go run down the block decks. This is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, again, it seems like X Games has had a really rough start. Like I said, coming into this game here tonight, they played 2 of the teams that were undefeated. Now they go up against UKN, who, again, not undefeated, but still had a really tough matchup their first week, swept the next week, now sweep again here. I think X Games probably had one of the tougher schedules so far to start this season, and now I think they've at least looked a lot better as the series went on. Hopefully they're able to build upon it for next week so they can get the win streak started for them here. But UKN, again, you look at the map, or you look at the hero bans throughout this entire series, and Philly, normally a lot of times when we look back at hero bans, we normally say, like, you know, this one probably didn't need to be banned out here, that one probably could have been saved for a little bit later, and sometimes some hero bans on some maps just make no sense. But I feel like these are 3 really smart bans, or 3 really smart set of bans here for this entire series.
Yeah, can't complain at all for any of these bans that were brought out for the teams. And folks, as always at the CGL, we bring on the players for an interview. We will have Puppy here for us, but we got to go to a break to get it set up. Welcome in, CGL fans. It's HD Philly B, it's Dexatron, and we have a very special interview with Puppy from UKN. We've got a couple questions for him. Puppy, this is not my initial question, but I want to get your thoughts and your feelings after that electric match.
Yeah, no, that was a really fun match. My team and I have been like really trying our best. The meta has been very, very hard to follow, and I'm just really glad that we have a small understanding of it and that the compositions that we were running just weren't like total, like just mess. The Jetpack Cat one, that could have been better, but we were trying a little bit of a funny thing, so yeah, I'm glad we worked out so well. It was very tense for us.
For sure, and that's half the fun. That's why we play the game, to experiment, try different things. But between Jetpack Cat and between Mizuki, which one are you liking more? We were talking a little bit in the green room, but for the fans out there.
Yeah, Mizuki definitely needs a few little tweaks. Everyone is like talking about his range and like his healing aura size, but if I have to go off of like potential and like their skill ceiling, Jetpack Cat has to take the cake. Like there's so much that character can do. It can solo dive, they can just move immobile characters to really good high grounds, and it's just the fastest rotations ever. Like sim TP and speed probably wouldn't even compare it to Jetpack Cat, so yeah.
Yeesh. Yeah, Dex, I want to get like JPC instead of Jetpack Cat, because I feel like that's just like too many syllables. But you and I will workshop it. But I know you got a couple questions here for Puppy too.
I mean, you could always just say, JC or Cat. But, I mean, you win last week in a 3-0 sweep. You now win this week in a 3-0 sweep. It seems like you guys are really starting to build something up here, especially with one more game to go before those mid-season playoffs. Are you looking ahead to next week? Or are you looking maybe a little bit further ahead to those mid-season playoffs?
To be honest, this is the first, first tournament that this team has competed in. We actually only got started about 2 months ago, and we kind of just joined CGL on a whim. We were looking for tournaments. We were like, hey, this one is up and running, so might as well. So honestly, we're just happy to be placing anywhere, and I'm really happy that we're doing as good as we are. We're putting in a lot of practice for this, so I'm just really happy that it's working out.
Yeah, I mean, it's been working out great for you guys. Other than a little bit of a sluggish start, you guys got your week 1, but hey, 6 straight map wins, nothing to scoff at here. But I mean, I want to talk about one thing. Your team seems like a very flexible team. We saw a lot of different compositions, a lot of different heroes be played throughout the series here tonight. Is that one of your guys' strengths that you feel like you can kind of, change into any sort of composition at the drop of a hat just to try to make it work?
Oh yeah, what was it? Our team is very, very flexible. We have a pretty wide hero pool. Our core is still very strong with like everyone playing their main roles, but there was one incident where our flex support, Levi, had really shitty internet, and instead of her playing on flex support, I would play Kiriko for that scrim, and then the scrim went completely fine the rest of the way. There have even been times where we've had George on the cast when we played like Jetpack Cat, and it worked really, really well on our scrims. So it's just, our team is very flexible, and I'm really glad that we actually are good players that can play good characters.
Hey, that's always a good thing when you have those two things right there. But I mean, hey, again, another great victory here for you guys tonight. But Philly, any other questions you have for Puppy?
Yeah, of course. What's been your favorite CGL memory so far? Has there been like a great play that you all remembered, even a scrim or a practice, or meeting other folks? What's been your favorite?
Ooh, okay. Of this. Oh yeah. Go ahead.
I was gonna say George's 4K blade.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. George is like one of the hardest players for me to watch, not because he's like just too good for me or he's like just like bad by any sense. It's just his sensitivity is so high. Like I have to put him on blast here. I can't remember what it was, but it's so unimaginably high. If you watch the replays of just his perspective, he is jittering around, and I don't know how the hell he aims at anything. It is just insane. But yeah, no, I'm just really glad that like there are moments where all of us are making plays. That I've been landing my Mizuki hooks. Suzuki's getting like 3Ks with his Sojolt ult. Even 9 has like huge ults with the Queen, and then we just always have like really good Curie ults. So like there just isn't like anything that we're doing wrong, and I'm just like really happy about that.
I love it. Hey, that's what it's all about, making those memories and just having a good time. Puppy, you have the floor here. Who do you want to shout out?
Yeah, I want to shout out one of my best friends, Shottle. He's also a Twitch streamer. He's been basically my duo, and I love him for that, and he's just like my best friend right now, so I love you, Shottle. I love you. Heart.
Wonderful. Well, Puppy, thank you so much for coming into the interview booth with us and just giving us a little bit behind the curtain what you all are doing in the locker room there. Good luck with the rest of the season, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, thank you very much. All right.
With that, folks, Puppy takes their leave, and that just leaves me and Dex back in the caster's booth to break this one all down. It will be a 3-0 victory for the side of UKN. They move themselves to 2-1 on the season. It's been a full day of CGL action here, and we will have more for you throughout the weekend, so make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to us on the YouTube, on the Twitch, everywhere you can follow us to keep in tune with all the action. Dex, any final words?
No, again, a great series here for UKN. Like they said there, and like we kind of said, they're really building something here. This team seems like, with more and more practice, this could be a team that not only is competing for a spot in the midseason, but I think could really make a run at the end of season as well. Xgames, I felt like this was much improvement, a much better game for them probably than what their first two were. Yeah, the results probably not what they're looking for here, but they're so close. They are so close, and I don't want them to get their heads down just yet because they still have 5 more games left to go this season, not counting mid-season, that I really think that they could go on a little bit of a run here and surprise some teams.
All right, so a couple of dark horses, folks. You've heard it here first. So we'll, make sure you tune in to more CGL action, and we'll see you next time.
Memories.